Well, we're here.
Locked in the bunker, shadows shake. One man clapping secrets awake. Board games living, dice they break. Echoes pounding, hearts they quake. In the bunker, board games rolling. One man clapping, stories growing. Hard rock thunder, speakers blowing. Clapping loud, the unknown sound.
Welcome to the sound of one man clapping. I am the one man coming to you direct from the bunker, and it has been a minute. So let's get to that. It's been a while, peeps, OMC crew, and I want to thank you for your patience. I've been through some shit of late. Without going into too much details, some time ago, as in 6 weeks ago or so maybe, our family was touched by evil. I'm not talking about tragedy. We're all okay. We're all okay. But evil brushed up against our family, and it has been a really, really tough time. I have been struggling mentally and emotionally. My beautiful wife, the Fox, has been struggling mentally and emotionally. I have not felt like peopling. I have not felt like doing anything but trying to be the rock for this family and finding some time on the side for myself. But it has been a really rough ride. So this is not an apology. I can't apologize for not being able to drag myself to the microphone, but just a little bit of an explanation. I know the last episode I talked a little bit about the grief I had with my mouth. I had a tooth basically explode in my mouth, and I went through several weeks of procedures and checkups to try and save it. And we had this other thing going on that has really just been ruinous from a mental health point of view. But we don't get to be 52 in this world without developing a little bit of resilience. And, here we are. Here we are. It was a very hard thing today and I'm just being open and transparent. It was a very hard thing today to drag myself to the table and to pull the laptop out and to try to pull together a semblance of an episode. And I'm not looking for poor me. That's not, I didn't have a lot of motivation. I haven't had a lot of motivation. What I will say, which is really, really wonderful for me, is the second I hit record, I felt that energy. I felt that buzz. I felt that bubble up in the cockles of my soul. And so thank you. Thank you for waiting. Thank you, to those of you that reached out and sent a few messages to say, hey, hope everything's okay. We'll get to a full thank you later. But that's me. The bunker has been in disarray. We've had some electrical repairs. I haven't literally been able to sit at the table because it has been a mess. So the bunker's back together. Thursday nights look like they're back on with Super Trooper for our Arkham campaign. I've got a new gaming schedule, and hopefully the egregious travel schedule I've had for work over the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks is coming to an end. So hopefully. But games. Hand on heart. And I literally have my hand on heart here, guys. I have not played many games. I really have not. And the games I'm going to talk about, literally, I've only been playing in the last week or so. And for those of you like me that sit at the table for a whole host of reasons, we want to be around our friends, we want to challenge our mental capacity. But for me, games have always been an outlet. They're a way to recharge my mental health, to fill my cup, to get away from the world and do something for me. And so not being able to, for whatever reason, schedule clashes, the bunker, just can't drag my pessimistic, dark ass to the table. I have not played many. As said, that's coming to an end. We're finding some light at the end of the tunnel, not in that we're still touched by this evil that's around, but in trying to reconcile that part of the world in our world, and trying to say, look, life has to go on. As I said, we're all okay. Everyone's healthy, everyone's well, everyone's fine. But now we're starting to take some baby steps forward, and it's nice. I'm starting to have some social activity again. And because I really just sort of pulled myself into my snail shell and told the whole world to go fuck itself for several weeks. But I have played a few. Most of them are quite small and light, not because I wasn't in the mood for something bigger, but because time is not permitted, space is not permitted, these things to happen. But I do have a few. And the ones I have to talk about are really, really wonderful. So the first one I want to talk about, we had a bit of a fun day at Super Trooper's house yesterday, which was nice. I got to play a few games. Most of these games, well, I've only talked about 4 games today. Most of them we played there yesterday. But the one that we've been playing outside of that is this cute little game, and I think I might have talked about this already, is Agent Avenue. I can't remember if I talked about this last episode or not, so I'll just do it quickly. Agent Avenue is a 2-player game. It's a chase. It's a cat and mouse game. And the whole game is basically, it's the scene from The Princess Bride with the wine. I think I did talk about this. It's been so long since I've been at the microphone, peeps. Forget it. Agent Avenue, look it up. Great game. Love it. Playing a lot of it with the Peanut. She and I'll sit down and play 5 games back to back. Love it. Played a game of Rebel Princesses. Now, Rebel Princesses is a delightful little trick-taking game. I think it's based on hearts, essentially. And you're trying to not get the princes. In hearts, you're trying to not get hearts from memory. So it's a trick-taking game. It's a must-follow. And you are princesses. Each of us plays a princess. You get a unique little power at the start. Each of us plays a princess. And in the cards, you've got, 4 suits of cards. One of them is princes. And you don't want to get princes because they're trying to propose. Those assholes are chasing us around and trying to propose. And we're rebel princesses. Each round, there's a unique card that flips up that puts a little zing, tells you what you're passing left, passing right, and gives you a little layer of extra complexity, extra spice for the round. It might say, we had one that, for example, said if you win a 3 in a trick, it counts as a -3 against your score, which is a wonderful thing to do if you can do that. And it's great. It's really, really great. It's fun. It's hilarious. So much laughs. There's a frog prince in there, which is actually off suit. He's part of the green suit. And if you get the frog prince, it counts as 5 princes. He's a really, really nasty piece of work. And each of us has a little asymmetric power that you can use once per round, which just changes the game up really delightfully. We laughed so hard playing this game because it's all about, obviously forcing other people to take those hideous, hideous princes. It's not expensive. Super Trooper has the quote-unquote deluxe version, which has some things on tarot-sized cards, has the powers are on little tokens rather than on a card. I've literally just bought the non-deluxe version because we're going on a family holiday shortly and I want to take it away to play with the girls while we're away. And it's going to be smaller for packing. I think I got that for $20. It's fantastic. The art is great. That's designed by Daniel Byrne, Jose Gerardo Guerrero, Kevin Pelaz, Tirso Virjos, art by Alfredo Caceres, and published by Zombie Paella. Not a dish I'd like to try. Probably stinks. Can you imagine? Slow-cooked zombie in sloppy rice? Not sloppy. I love paella. Zombie paella, not so much. I got to thank our dear colleagues over at So Very Wrong About Games because they featured this game last week and I listened to their show and I went, oh my God, that sounds so good. If you're not listening to So Very Wrong About Games, you should. They're absolute legends. This is a little trick taker called Bottle Imp. Now, Bottle Imp, I don't know why I said that like Mr. Bean. Bottle Imp. It's a delightful little trick taker. It's another trick taker. And the Bottle Imp is a short story, if I remember right from reading up on it. It's by Robert Louis Stevenson, in which you have the curse of the Bottle Imp. And the only way to get rid of the Bottle Imp is to sell it to someone else for less than you paid for it. It's a short story. That's the crux of it. And you've got to try and get rid of it. And obviously, every time you get rid of it, it's harder and harder to get rid of it. So in the middle of the table, you've got a card, which is the Bottle Imp card, and it is a 19. And there's this lovely little glass bottle with an imp, screen printed on the inside of it that sits on this card. And the cards are number 1 to 37. And there are 4 colors of cards. Now, you don't have 4 suits, each one 1 to 37. They're distributed unevenly across those 37 cards. And for example, the red cards are all below 18. And I think the green cards are all above 23. So if you are trying to minimize or purge yourself of a suit, you're actually going to purge yourself of a whole band of numbers, which is really interesting. It plays up to 6 as well, and the way they do that is there are certain cards that go in that are half numbers, so you get 22.5 instead of 22. And everyone's got a little reference card in front of you, so you actually know what the sway of cards are. So you can look at your hand and go, well, I've got these 3 red cards. That means these 6 red cards are out there. And I get it. You can kind of see the lay of what might still be out there. And so the first thing you do is you're going to shed 1 card. 1 card comes out of your hand and you put it face down under the Bottle Imp. So in a 4-player game, that will be 4 cards. That's the Devil's Trick. That's the Devil's Trick, and that's the curse of the Bottle Imp. Then you're going to take one card, you're going to pass it to the left and pass one card to the right. So you've got a little bit of shenanigans there, just like you would in so many other trick takers. And then it's a must-follow trick taker. And here's the spice. So you must follow, and if you don't have the suit in question, you can play anything you like. There's no trump. There's no trump per se. So if I lead with a 22 and the next person plays a 20 of the same color, that's great, or plays a 22 of the same color, and then the next person along doesn't have any of the suit that I've led with, they play off suit, they can play a higher number than me, they will still win the trick. You have to follow, but if you can't follow, you can play anything you like, and if it's higher, you will win the trick. So you play a trick, off you go. Highest number wins. Here's the zing. If you play a number lower than the current bottle imp price, and the bottle imp starts at 19, so if I play a 22 and the next person in line plays a 17, they will win the trick, but they will get the bottle imp. So their 17 will go into the middle of the table. That's the new price for the bottle imp. They take the bottle imp into their little play area, and they have the bottle imp. Each card has a value on it and also has a point value. So the high cards are worth lots of points, right? So you're deeply incentivized to win the high cards if you can. And if you don't have a high card, you can do it with a lower card, but you are going to get the bottle imp, which is the spicy bit. So I play a 32, and Super Trooper goes, well, it's early days in this hand. I'm going to play the 14. He's going to take the 32, which has 6 points on it for the end of the game. He gets 32. He gets the bottle imp. He knows there are lots more cards still in the game lower than the one he currently has, right? He knows. He's played the 14 or the 15 or whatever. He's got the bottle imp. It goes round and round and round. And if two people play cards lower than the bottle imp, the highest card will win the bottle imp. Here's where it gets wild sometimes. You have to play on suit. So if I play a red 26 and the next person in line only has the red 4, won't work because red's only 18 and below, but for example, has the red 4, they have to play the 4, which means they get the bottle imp. And there's not many cards lower than 4. Now, all the cards are going to come out, yes, but let's say I play the red 18, the next person in line plays the red 4, so we know they're getting the bottle imp because, 4. The next person in line, if they have the 3, the 2, or the 1, they can shed that into the hand knowing they've gotten rid of that shitty low card that would end up with them being screwed with the bottle imp, and the person who's played the 4 has to take it. It's really, really great. At the end of the hand, you take all the cards you've won, you lay them down, you tally up the points on them. The person with the bottle imp doesn't get any points. They get the devil's trick, which has been shed at the start of the game, start of the hand, and they get those in minus points. And so it's a very real strategy. If you happen to get the bottle imp, you want to run the table, because while you won't get those points, you're denying other people those points because you know you're going to be getting minus points. We had a lot of fun. We play one training hand, and halfway through the training hand, people around the table going, what the fuck? What? Who's won this one? What do you mean? What do you mean? Played training hand, and then we went into 3 hands. You can set whatever number of hands you like. You can play a 5-hand game. You can play a 2-hand game. You can play a 3-hand. We played a 3-round game, and it was fantastic. So good. Delightful little box. It's a very little box. There's a team variant that has 2 bottles. I haven't looked at it yet, but it is a delightful little trick-taking game in a field swamped with trick-taking games. It is very different. Not stupidly brain-burning, but just enough going on that the shenanigans at the table are excellent. That's Bottle Imp. I loved every minute of it. I can't wait to get to the table. It's another one we're going to take away on holidays when we go. In fact, I looked at the 3. I've bought 3 little card games to take away. They're all trick takers, so the girls are going to get a full education on trick taking games. We're going to take Bottle Imp, we're going to take Rebel Princesses, and we're going to take Fishing by Freeman Freeze. That's Bottle Imp by Gunter Cornet, art by Maxime Morin, and published by Matago. My copy's published by Matago. I think there's a few publishers out there. So after that, Voldemort pulled out, because Voldemort's now a bona fide train gamer. He's got trains. He pulled out a copy of Iberian Gauge. Now, Iberian Gauge is a train game. It's not an 18xx, but it's a train game. You know, you can choose, you push stuff around. And I took a punt and asked the Peanut, who's 11 and has never really played anything heavier than, you know, she plays really light stuff because she's 11 and she loves light stuff. I said, "Do you want to play a train game?" And she went, "Yeah, I'll play a train game." And Voldemort kind of looked up at me and went, "Really?" I went, "Yeah, man." So we did the rules teach, and she fidgeted a little, but she listened. And as you know, with train games, it's all about buying shares, purchasing shares, bumping the share prices up and down, building your rails. I said to the Peanut, "Look, you and I will team up a little bit in the first stages while we get through it, and we'll buy the same companies and work together a little, because as you know, in train games, it's a little bit of cooperation. You want to fist everyone around the table at the end, but it's a little bit of cooperation." And so we did. So Iberian Gauge, the way it works is there's a share purchase round, and everyone's going to buy a share, more shares. You know, you can buy more shares if you like. And once the shares are all bought, then there's a rail building round. And when you buy the shares, your money goes into the company, and then the company pays for their own rails. And it's a rinse repeat. So you buy shares. Certain things happen when shares are bought, depending on what cities they're in, which will bump them up on the dividend track or bump them up on the share price track. And there's shenanigans. And it was a delight. It was a really delightful train game. It was maybe an hour and 10. And I'll tell you what, we were about halfway through, and the Peanut went, "Uh-huh. Yeah, I see." She just kind of clicked in to the point where there was once or twice when we were doing things, and she said, "You can't do that. That's not, you've missed X, Y, and Z." And it was such a delight for me to see her grasp, because the Peanut fucking sucks at math. She sucks at math. Well, it turns out she sucks at math when it's an esoteric, vague, abstract sentence in a book saying, "Well, if Bob is going to have 7/10 of a wank and Sarah is going to have 4/8 of a movie length episode of whatever." But when it's in front of her, you know, she was calculating the share. She was looking at the share prices, how much money she had. She was calculating her dividend payouts. She was looking at prices ahead of building rails. And it was just such a delight. It was such a delight to see. And we got to the end, and I just said, "What did you think of that?" She said, "Yeah, that was pretty good." She wasn't last either. She didn't come in last at the table, which was it was a very special experience, and I loved every second of it. I really liked Iberian Gauge. Iberian Gauge is by Amabel Holland and art by Ian O'Toole and published by Capstone Games. The art was great. The board's really clean. It's a really easy teach. And as I said, the game's about 70 minutes, start to finish. And had a really great time with it. It was fantastic. And sitting at the table with the Peanut playing a grown-up game, in quotes, a grown-up game, was really, it was a remarkable thing. That's it. That's literally all I've played. And to be honest, 3 of those games I played yesterday, Agent Avenue, I've been playing at the table, you know, with the Peanut after school and after dinner and that sort of thing. That's literally all I've met. Oh, we played No Thanks. No Thanks was a great game. We played No Thanks yesterday as well. Another light little party game. Maybe not a party game. It's like a screw you kind of game. And had a lot of fun with No Thanks. It was great too. That's it. That is all I played. I'm hoping that's going to change. I am really excited for the coming weeks, and there's a little bit of a little more vigor in my forward outlook. So that's it. So games, more games, please, more games. I'm not going to do shenanigans with music today because I just don't care enough. Not about you guys, just I'm not. I'm just going to blast through this because I've only got about 35 minutes in me today, and I'm sorry for that. Well, I'm not sorry. I'm not even sorry. But on incoming, 4 exclamation marks, we'll do that because that's how we roll here. Orloi, the astronomical clock is finally arriving tomorrow. I've had it on pre-order for months and months and months. We're in Australia. What we're really good at in Australia is we get our pre-orders, as in our campaigns, our Kickstarters, and our game founds. We get all our crowdfunding stuff usually first because we're close to China. But something like an Essen release, well, Orloi was last year's Essen release in October, and if you're mathing, it is now mid-August. That's how long it takes for that kind of stuff to trickle into our retail spaces. So Orloi, the astronomical clock, is arriving tomorrow, which is very exciting to me. I'm very excited. I know it's just another point salad-y vom fest on the table, but I think it looks fantastic. I think the play looks great, and I love the way it looks. Can't wait. Abyss Echo is also arriving tomorrow. Abyss Echo is a huge, I'm not going to call it a game, it's a huge box of stuff. Abyss Echo is more like it's like a choose your own adventure with props. I thought there was going to be more game in it. I've watched some early reviews of it that comes out, and it really is. It's just a narration with props. There's a few dice rolls. There's a few decisions to be made along the way, but it's basically an immersive. It's an immersive experience more than a game. So I'll probably be playing that solo. It's Lovecraftian-ish. I thought it might be something we get to the table, Super Trooper and I. But to be honest, I think it's going to be just a solo experience. But I'm still looking forward to it. Entropy arrived. Entropy, which I ordered through the pre-order campaign that Board and Dice had on GameFound recently. I think Entropy looks like a lot of fun. Again, it's a bit of a sprawling, point salad-y mess of a game, but I'm quite fond of those, and I like the theme, and I like the way it looks on the table. So Entropy's here. And Robo Rescue, which was a little indie project that I backed last year, has delivered. And it's about robots moving around a board, collecting resources, rebuilding their ships so they can escape off the board. There's a little mini game on your player board. And you know what? I don't know that it's a great game, but it's a great looking game. And it was, as I said, it was a little indie project. And it came out at the same time as Making Monsters, which is another one that I was looking at and possibly looking at backing just to share the love around for some small game designers. It's arrived and looking forward to popping that on the table. I think the Peanut and the Fox will like that very, very much. There might have been more that's come in the last 4 to 6 weeks, guys, but to be honest, it's a little bit of a blur when I look back. No excuses. Again, it's not a poor me scenario, not in the least. It's a little bit of a blur. There might have been more that's come in, but if there is, I don't know. And we're going to move straight to FOMO Mofo. Now, FOMO Mofo is normally where I take you through my full angst-ridden, just my world of, do I spend, do I not spend? I'm going to do a little differently today. I'm just going to talk about some of the projects up and coming that I'm really excited about, because there's a lot out there. I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but I was on GameFound today. They have, the button you can click, say upcoming projects, and there's a summary, and you can sort through the upcoming projects. There are 572 upcoming projects in the upcoming project section on GameFound. That is not a made-up number. There's no hyperbole in this. There's no exaggeration. 572 as of this morning, up-and-coming projects. Holy fuckballs. What the hell? So, I just want to talk about some of the games that are up and coming that I'm really excited about, because to be honest, there's not much there right now. I mean, I've backed Isle of Penguins. I've backed that for the Fox because penguins are her favorite animal, and she quite liked Isle of Cats, even though it was a little bit too crunchy for her at the full version. Isle of Penguins is pared down a bit. I've backed that. I've backed a few other bits and pieces that have come through. Not a lot, to be perfectly honest. But Aberration. Aberration is this gorgeous demon infestation co-op tower defense. Right? They're coming in from 4 sectors on the board. You've got to light the board with campfires to see them, because they're invisible till you light the campfire. There's villagers you got to save. There's asymmetric powers. It's a bag builder. It's a really cool little bag builder mechanic. They have Canadian geese demons. There's an expansion called Honk of Doom, which is fabulous. And you've got these demonic geese that stomp all around the board. It's a really wonderful game. I've only played it, I played a 4-player game at PAX last year, and that's what made me buy it, because it was a really, really good game. And we played a full 4-player game in 2 hours, which is remarkable for a game of this complexity, and it's gorgeous on the table. And other than that, I've only played it solo, which is fine. It's very, very good to play by yourself. They have a solo mode. I typically play it two-handed, and it's a delight. They are coming to GameFound with a reprint, because this is done by a very Ghostfire Gaming. They're actually an Australian company, Ghostfire Gaming, and they're very small, very indie, and it's hard to get. Actually, I think the games come out of the US, but I do think the guys live here in Australia, because I met them at PAX. They're delightful guys. So I've got everything that's existing. I've got the most whiz-bang insert that puts everything in the main box, because it was about 5 boxes. It's fantastic. But it's coming to a reprint with 2 new expansions and a campaign, and not a GameFound campaign, but there's a campaign mode which you can go through, which I think is going to be fabulous. So that's coming to GameFound. And the game is gorgeous. The minis are gorgeous. The gameplay is really fun. And the cooperative aspects of it are fantastic. There's a lot of interplay between, players at the table, because it's not just now I'll do this. It's, Hammond's over there is getting his ass handed to him I can teleport, so I'm going to teleport over there and drop my area of effect and hope it goes well and clear out some mobs and then teleport back. It's very clever. It's very clever. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I know it has some mixed reviews out there, but I think Aberration's fantastic. The Altered is live on Kickstarter. The Altered is actually the spiritual successor to the game I was talking about earlier called Abyss Echo. It's a deeply narrative experience. I don't know if it's a game. Allegedly, The Altered is going to take some of the feedback from Abyss Echo and make it more gamified rather than just a narrative experience. The great news is The Altered, the campaign's up for 2 months. It's live. It's up for 2 months. There's no rush. It's doing very well. It's doing very, very well in funding. But I'll be able to get Abyss Echo to the table and give it a bit of a whirl before I think about getting into The Altered. But even if I like the narrative and I like the immersion, it doesn't have to be super gamey, but if I'm really enjoying it, again, this is a small company. I believe they're in Hong Kong. They're called Tin Universe. It's a group of guys that they write everything themselves, and it comes with all these wild little props that you can use, that just give you an immersive feel to it. As I said, it's live for 2 months. Take your time. Excursions is coming. I don't think it's coming for a while. I think it's still a couple months away, but it's on Kickstarter. You can follow that. That's a Galactic Cruise game. It plays 6 with simultaneous play, and I freaking love me some Galactic Cruise. We are hopefully we as in Super Trooper, Project L, the Cracker, and I are going to be getting together in 2 weeks, and we're going to start recording our top 50 of all time. Galactic Cruise, I'm sure, will be on there somewhere. I'm absolutely positive it's on there somewhere, because Galactic Cruise is a fantastic Euro, and it's wonderful to play, and the production is amazing. So I'm very excited to see what Excursions brings to the table. Pardon the pun. City of the Great Machine is getting a full reprint. I think it's almost a version 2.0 with some extra goodies. Now, City of the Great Machine, the thing I always liked about City of the Great Machine is the same thing I always liked about things like My Father's Work and Weather Machine, and it's that steampunk world. Now, City of the Great Machine, from memory, is a one versus many or a co-op kind of thing, which I don't know that I'll have it much hope in getting it to the table, but allegedly there's some tweaking. There's some work going into City of the Great Machine. There's some new stuff coming in the way of expansions and whatnot. Very much looking forward to it because I really like the art style. I really like the art. I like that, I said, that steampunky bit. It's steampunk and diesel punk. They really, really get me in the right spot. I absolutely adore that stuff. So it's coming. I don't know when. It's coming soon. You can follow that. I believe that's on Kickstarter. If they've done something to make it more solo friendly, or if it's something that I think I can get to the table, maybe with the peanut, it is a sure thing for me because, as I said, I love the art. We'll see. Cole Worley has a second edition coming of an infamous traffic. It's basically opium trafficking pirates. And I like a lot of Cole Worley's output, so I'm going to be looking at this very, very closely. This is kind of in the same vein as when he redid John Company a couple years ago. John Company is a game that I think I would really enjoy. I'm just not convinced I would ever get it to the table with my group. Right, and that's the challenge with it. So I'm looking very closely at an infamous traffic that's on Kickstarter. If you're not following that, go have a look. There's not a lot of info, but if he does with that what he did with John Company, as I said, it's opium pirates. Yeah, he can have my money. And Direwolf has got a big Clank campaign coming. They've got all the Clank stuff. They're coming out with what they're calling the Cube of Holding, which I imagine is the big box for everything. I don't have everything Clank. We're working our way through Acquisitions Incorporated, which I'm loving every minute of. I've got Clank Catacombs and Underworld here, and the Peanut and I really love Clank, and the Fox loves Clank. So I'll be having a look. I don't know if I need a Clank big box and more Clank, because I'm kind of really happy with the amount of Clank that I have. But it's coming, and I think there's some really cool quality of life stuff there. If you don't have the Clank cubes... The metal cubes, I'm assuming you'll be able to get those as part of this. The Clank metal cubes are probably one of the sexiest upgrades you can get in games. If you don't know what they look like, go to Direwolf's page and look at the Clank metal cubes. They're very hard to get, and I'm assuming you'll be able to get them as part of this campaign. They are just a delight. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's kind of it. We talked about the upcoming section. The other thing that I noticed on GameFound today, which I hadn't seen before, is they've got a pre-order button. You could pre-order, and all the games that you can literally pre-order are there. So that is games that perhaps are left over from campaigns that you can just order and they'll send them to you. If you live in the United States, Nemesis Retaliation has a mystery box set up in there, so you can go and you can order pledges that weren't taken up because of the tariffs that had to be paid on them. A lot of people elected not to pay the tariffs and get a refund, and so they're selling these mystery packages that are tiered for Nemesis Retaliation. I really, really liked Nemesis Retaliation. I have Coop's copy sitting on my shelf here, and I am very much looking forward to spending one day just... I mean, it's an hour and 92 minutes to set it up, but I really enjoyed... We played that on my birthday this year, and I really enjoyed Nemesis Retaliation. But there are lots of things in there that you can just click order off Game Found from different companies. And talking about pre-orders, I tell you what, I kudos to Simon. I got an address confirmation email the other day for The Adventurers, which was a pre-order campaign that they launched last year. And it's absolutely clear that they launched it because they needed to raise funds for the hole that they've dug themselves in. But my understanding is Mordred is shipping. It's one of the campaigns from several years ago. I think the DC United core box is going to be shipping soon. They've put a plan in place, and yeah, they have been shit on by everybody from pillar to post, for their quote-unquote handling. But when the Adventurers came up for pre-order last year, they were already in dire straits, and it was clear. And I looked at the Adventurers and I thought, that's a really, really fun-looking game. It looks so great. So much fun, and I can't wait to get it to the table. And I think it was about $160 for... It's 3 games in one. It's a collector's edition. And I thought, you know what? I've been in business. I know Simon's not a little business, but if this is what helps dig them out, I'm happy to gamble $160. So I did. And it's paid off. It's coming. It's coming in the next 4 weeks. I got an address confirmation from them. And I just got to kudos to Simon. If they can pull this off and they can get everything delivered that's been backlogged, they're, for me as a consumer, will have bought my confidence that no matter what, if they can dig out of this, which was like a $17 million hole of backlogs and campaigns, if they can dig out of this, they have my confidence that giving them my money might... Not so much it might be a gamble, but certainly they're going to do everything in their power to make sure I get that game, right? Because if they can dig out of this, they can dig out of just about anything. The learning curve, for them must have been absolutely huge to be able to sort of take those steps. So very excited. The Adventurers is on the way sometime in the next 4 weeks, probably. There's lots of cool stuff you can pre-order. I didn't even know GameFound had an exclusive pre-order space. There's some cool stuff in there. Big campaigns, small campaigns, indie stuff. You got a little bit of money to throw around. It's a good place to spend some time. Oh, and confession time. I bit the bullet and went all in for a late pledge of Tamashii, the final amendment. Now, Tamashii is an Awakened Realms project. It is going to be boxes and boxes and boxes. And Tamashii is very cyberpunk. I very nearly pulled the trigger on the Cyberpunk 2077 board game. And the only reason I didn't is... It's big. It's a big box game with all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, but I can just play Cyberpunk, right? I could Cyberpunk 2077. I was a day one player. I played day one. I had the new Xbox Series X. It was fine. It wasn't any jankier than some of the other stuff. I was having a pretty good time. And I really enjoyed my first playthrough of Cyberpunk, even though it was buggy as shit. I really enjoyed it. I've played it twice more. I'm playing it again now. I really liked it. And I was like, oh... Why would I spend $500 on a board game when I can just boot up Cyberpunk 2077 and I'm all in? So I didn't. I almost did because I really like Cyberpunk. It's like the diesel punk and the steampunk for me. I love Cyberpunk, theme stuff. Tamashii is also Cyberpunk themed, and basically you're a hacker and you're inhabiting these shells, these bodies that and they're asymmetrical, and you can collect them and unlock them through the game. It's not a campaign. But you might play a game, and part of the story that happens in the scenario unlocks a new shell that you can get into. And the minis and the art looks fabulous. The gameplay looks fine. I'm not saying it's going to be world-class gameplay, but I do love Cyberpunk. And I think the way I'm looking at my collection going forward is I have a fuck ton of Euros, right? Unless there's something really special or really funky, like Entropy was just... It's not that it's that different, but it's just got that galactic look about it that I like. I'm kind of stepping away from more Euros because I have amazing Euros in here. I have amazing Euros in here that I don't get to play. But something like Tamashii, I can set up on the table and go down that rabbit hole for 6 hours by myself. And it's not that I don't like people, but I love solo gaming. And it's not the be all and end all, but the more I can get a game to the table and play it solo, like Dawn of Madness, which it's taking up so many shelves. But holy man, Dawn of Madness is like 8 hours of just joy. And it's by myself. I love it. I loved every freaking minute of it. So I'm kind of looking for more of that going forward. The next big campaign that I'm really gagging for is actually Scoundrels. You can follow it. There's no sign of when it's coming. That's an Awakened Realms one. And it's basically Clank in the Lands of Evershade universe. And again, the mock-up art looks great. The stories look great behind it. And so that's, as I said, I have plenty of euros. I have some more euros coming this year, next year. I'm not, but I look around the bunker and I've got such good stuff here. So yeah, that's FOMO Mofo. That's FOMO Mofo, guys. That's all I got for you. And I guess I want to round this out, not so much with the full voices in my head, but just a little PSA. I'm not going to lie, I'm really wrung out. I opened with a little bit of the story. I wouldn't call it burnout, but I feel really, really squeezed dry. And, I was saying to the Fox this morning, I feel like I've had a virus for 4 weeks. Like, I just feel heavy. I feel really wrung out. And so I just want to share with you that it's my intent to be back to normal next week. Normal is a loaded word. Back to Hammers, back to OMC Hammers. It's my intent, to be back next week with a proper episode, proper format, and really aiming for a fortnightly after that. Board games are my repair. They fill my cup, so to speak. But these last couple of months have been insanely hard. And it's not that I haven't had the energy to record. I just haven't had the will. So for those of you that are here today, thank you for coming back. Thank you to my friends, who have been very much cheering me from the sidelines. Not one of them has said, "Hey, loser, record an episode." I get a lot of, "Hey, we're missing OMC." But thank you to my friends who've been cheering from the sidelines. Thank you to my amazing, amazing co-pilot in life. Thank you to the Fox, who's been riding this emotional wave with me. And thank you to my amazing daughters, who drive me fucking batshit crazy every day of the week, but who through this experience, and as I said, our family's been touched by evil, have shared their own stories, things I didn't know, things they've experienced, and just they haven't wanted to talk about it. It's not that I have a wonderful relationship with my daughters, and we have all kinds of conversations that I wish I'd never had, because they're very open about their personal lives. But through this, they shared things that happened to them that they just hadn't want to talk to anybody about. And so if there's a silver lining on this, it's that they felt that this was the time. And so thank you to my amazing daughters. And thank you to you, the OMC crew, for every download, every minute, every comment, every message. It means a lot. And although I don't like the word normal, I don't think anybody's fucking normal. I'm starting to feel a little more normal. So my thanks. You can reach me on all the socials. Find me on Facebook by searching One Man Clapping. You can email me at wonmanclapping@gmail.com. You can hop on Instagram. Thank you to Super Trooper for doing all the heavy lifting for like the last 4 or 5 weeks on Instagram and Facebook and in our socials. I just, as I said, I didn't have it in me. You can join the One Man Clapping Guild on BGG. Subscribe to Guild 4426. Thank you, Quentin, for your kind words on there. It's very much appreciated. Quentin's one of our super fans and regularly reaches out with little tidbits from his life. So thank you, Quentin, for your comments there. You can help OMC by dropping me a like on Facebook or Instagram, or by leaving a review on whatever platform you choose. If it's a bad review, I'll survive. And thank you as always for your time. Your time is precious, and the fact that you chose to waste an hour of it listening to how I spend my time, 40 minutes today, is always humbling. And until next time, get your game on, even if you got to play with yourself. It is now, as of recording, 45 days to PAX Australia, and I hope to see you there. Peace out, mofos. Be good to each other.